Did you feel it? The people of South Jersey say they did. Some say they heard a loud boom. Others say they felt the ground move. Our Chris O'Connell went to investigate this earth-shaking mystery.
It happened again. San Diegans throughout the county reported hearing and feeling yet another mysterious boom today. Dozens of people began tweeting about the jolt a little before 3 o'clock this afternoon, with some questioning whether it was an earthquake. While there was a 2.6 magnitude quake recorded south of the border around 2:30, it is unclear if it was the cause of the boom. Camp Pendleton also released a noise advisory this morning for both artillery and mortar rounds. This comes after similar incidents in June and December of last year.
Authorities are investigating reports of the ground shaking in Cape May County this afternoon.
We begin with the mysterious loud booms heard and vibrations felt across South and Central New Jersey.
You may just be wondering the same thing. What was that sound?
Where people felt the ground shake yesterday, and this one really has people scratching their heads. At this point, it does not appear to be an earthquake, and researchers are still trying to figure out exactly what it was.
The reports from startled South Jersey residents started pouring in about 1:30 Tuesday afternoon. Good thing little Winslow wasn't scared of the noise. Not the case for the rest of the family.
My dad came downstairs and asked why the whole third floor was rumbling, and it sounded like an earthquake had happened.
We checked with the U.S. Geological Survey, who confirmed the loud rumble was not an earthquake.
People felt and heard something strange yesterday.
We felt the ground shake and also a loud rumble noise. And about 10 minutes later, it happened again.
It literally sounded like the ground shook from one end of Broadway to the other.
John Cook, a Cape May blog writer and hotel manager, says he heard jets buzz the beach before, but this was different.
That's the thing. We all have theories, but we don't have the answer. That's up to you guys to come up with what really happened.
Well, you know who may have the answer? Mother Nature, or even better, the Weather Authority, who may have the answer to those mystery rumbles in South Jersey.
Yeah, even the dog stopped and look, walking in circles. I have a big golden doodle, and she was like, ruff, 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 ruff. So she found it before I did.
The United States Geological Survey says they did not detect any earthquakes in that area, and they don't believe that the shaking or the boom sound was of meteorological origin.
This loud sound is leaving many across the metro area scratching their heads. People from Algiers to Gentilly to St. Bernard Parish say they heard what sounded like an explosion around 11:15 Tuesday night.
Just like one big boom.
I heard a loud explosion. It was just a real deep, sounded like a very large explosion. Almost felt a little vibration from it.
Adding to the unusual, other neighbors reported seeing a yellow flash just a few seconds before the noise, like seen here.
It was just scary. All of a sudden, everything was quiet, and then all of a sudden, an explosion, you know?
There were also some reports it could be a meteor, but NASA says there was no significant activity over the New Orleans area. Furthermore, they say there was no scheduled test activity at Stennis Space Center during the time that could account for the noise.
I mean, it went boom, and it just had a sound, roaring sound.
Her adult son ran downstairs.
He said, Mama, I don't know what the hell that is.
And people all across the city heard the mysterious boom that some say sounded like an explosion. Surveillance video captured it. You can hear it from inside this bedroom. In this video from Musicians Village, you first see a white flash in the distance. And then, about 5 seconds later, you hear this. But it's not the first time.
Always at night, always and late.
She and several other neighbors say they hear similar booms every 6 months or so.
This was louder. This one was the loudest one that I ever heard.
It's left her and the rest of the city still questioning what was it.
It's a mystery.
But at this point, nobody knows where that sound was coming from.
It remains a mystery, okay.
Power City tonight, a big boom overnight rocked the west side of Port Arthur. And tonight, many are asking, what was it? Well, people reported hearing that loud noise late Tuesday night.
there was a loud noise, sounded like it could possibly be an explosion, shook the ground.
Community activist Hilton Kelly grew up in West Port Arthur by the refineries. He understands why the boom left neighbors nervous.
Many people are disturbed by that. Their windows were rattled. They're feeling nervous about what's going on, and there's no disclosure.
It happened again. San Diegans throughout the county reported hearing and feeling yet another mysterious boom today.
Oh man, a big jolt in North County Sunday morning. It was felt all across San Diego. We were in a meeting when it happened. Whoa, what is that?
That's it. So the USGS rated the quake a 4.1 on the Richter scale, centered beneath Palomar Mountain.
One person tweeting, "In Escondido, we felt 2 quick jolts. The second one felt bigger. It shook my house and got my heart racing."
Yeah, that's the first one in a couple years I can remember really shaking the ground the way it did.
Many San Diegans felt the 4.1 magnitude earthquake.
It sounded like something exploded, kind of, and then the dog's barking, and then the house is shaking, and we're like...
She like spilled her coffee. She's like, it's okay, everything's okay.
It almost sounded like there was like a jet overhead, like a sonic boom type thing.
We've lived here 40 years, and it was probably the second strongest we've felt.
The seismic activity could be felt from Valley Center, Escondido, and Vista, all the way to Oceanside.
We just had a shocking blast that we felt. It lasted a couple of seconds here, and I mean, it shook the house.
The rumble heard on this Ring camera. Right now, no injuries have been reported, but the earthquake did cause some damage. One woman who lives in San Marcos sent us these photos of cracks in her walls. Mitchell, who's from California, says she's used to earthquakes, but this one, she admits, left her on edge.
Little earthquakes, it moves the blinds, no problem. But this knocked stuff off the walls, it was knocking stuff off the tables.
But she isn't the only one who's heard them.
It doesn't sound like fireworks. It's not a similar sound of fireworks. It's almost like it's like a deep rumble, a deep boom.
There have been really loud explosions.
Alta lives with her boyfriend in the Marin County area of San Geronimo Valley. The sheriff's office confirms the explosions and says there have been at least 6 of them in the last month.
I heard one and it rattled the walls of our house. I felt it in my body and my chest. It was so low, it sounded like it was coming from underground.
While the explosions have been heard in San Geronimo Valley, deputies say at least one of the originating spots was not near homes.
It's a really disturbing sound, and it's scary to hear that, you know, when it's like 8 p.m. on any given night. It's really freaking a lot of the neighbors out.
You know, a lot of our viewers have recently contacted us after hearing loud booms that rattled their entire house. They're all wondering what's causing it.
And they're calling it and putting it on social media. KTK's Tori Bean explains what could be behind these very intense blasts that everybody's talking about.
We're in the house, me and my kids, and it felt at first like lightning when it strikes next to your house. But we went outside. Of course, it wasn't raining or anything. We didn't see anything. And then a few minutes later, another big boom that you could hear and also feel.
With no answers as to what is really happening, the community is fearful. Concerns are that something serious is happening.
Of course it's scary. I have a 6- and 9-year-old, and they're like, "Mom, we're being invaded." I'm like, I don't think we're being invaded, but...
I was tripping out, man. I was like, dude, what is that? Like, you know, I've seen like lights here and there, and I see a lot of fighter jets that take off, and they usually have like a blinking red, the light, and these were just solid. And I was like, it's not a helicopter. They're too high up to be a drone, that I could tell, because it was weird. And then they started moving, and I was like, man, it looked like a fleet of UFOs, like what you see on, TV. And so I pulled my phone out, started recording them, and I drove all the way down Peach, almost to like church where I live, and I was recording them the whole time.
We reached out to the Air National Guard for answers, but they say they didn't fly that night. In fact, it's unusual for them to fly during the evening hours, and they would usually send out an alert.
And one by one, they would kind of slowly disappear, and then at the end, there was only one left.
Sarah Mazian says there was also something off about the way the lights were moving.
One would pass the other, and then the one that would pass the other one would stay lit, and then the one before it would disappear. So it was kind of like they were moving, and then one would pass, and this would disappear, and then the other one would kind of pass.
He says this isn't the first time he saw something out of the ordinary, but it definitely stands out from the rest.
But this was definitely by far the weirdest one because there was a bunch of them.
In Temple last night, people on Facebook were claiming to see some strange lights moving across the sky.
An unusual, questionable, strange light dancing across the sky.
Here it kind of splits apart and comes back. And you can see the fires moving right there.
She says it was an eye's view for about 5 minutes, but the way it danced across the sky has her really confused on what it is.
And then it moved to the right and then just stopped paths and kind of burst like into 3 and just disappeared.
But whatever it was, it's created a big mystery in Temple.
I mean, it was more cool than anything, but I mean, cool in a creepy way.
Surreal.
Yeah, I thought I was kind of going crazy.
All right, Bailey, it's a mystery. I'm dying to know. But what a time for the aliens to visit us. I hope they're taking proper COVID precautions.
They're probably like, peace out.
No kidding.
No thanks, sir.
See what's going on down there? We're turning around.
Yeah.
If you saw a chain of mysterious white lights in the sky earlier this evening, you're not alone, and there's a good explanation for it. This is video that a viewer sent us. What you're seeing there isn't a UFO, but likely a Starlink satellite. They belong to SpaceX and are launched to bring internet access to the entire planet.